Wow. Give our Seaside Band a round of applause. Give it to them. Give it to them. Every time I talk to them, I always got to tell them, man, you can rock. You rock this house, man. Thank you guys for being here to rock us. So anyway, my name is Rosedale, and I am a spiritual practitioner. I like doing that. And I am also a student to graduate from ministerial school in June. Ooh, one more time. My birthday is Tuesday. Okay. But it's true. But anyway, guys, as you know, we have a couple of things I want to bring on to let you know about. But the most important things are the most important things. Remember to look inside Seaside if I forgot anything, because sometimes I'm known to forget things. So you know that. So anyway, look into your folder and remember that we still have pledge cards in there in case anybody wants to continue to create your pledge card in order to continuously support Seaside, right? So we want to do that. And also, before I do this, let me just tell you that power, my mind is going zoom. Okay, so Power Up is not going to be happening this Wednesday because we're going to have it at Methodist Church over on Magdalena near In-N-Out. So you'll get there on Wednesday night, and that's where your service will be at Interfaith if you choose, okay? So another thing I want you to know is everybody's invited on this Thanksgiving Thursday to come out and have dinner, potluck, with Dr. Christina and her volunteers and all that wonderful stuff. And also, by the way, let me just make sure you know that who's holding our light is really important, that you know that. And I would like to present to you David Yankaskis. Thank you, David, for holding the light for this fabulous service, because this service is the coming home one, so you know you're going to want to like it. You're going to want to be here, and he's doing his thing. So also, know that I want to introduce someone else who I love her name so much I have to say the whole thing. I want to bring up Candace Young Schultz.
Good morning, Seaside. Marva's going to show a video about CRC holiday baskets that Seaside supports, and then I'll chat with you about it a little more. This occurs in December at the fairgrounds.
About my 25th year of doing this, and I was back in the day when they had just a little storefront somewhere, a couple of little commercial buildings, and it truly was a basket and maybe 50 people, and they'd give a basket and some toys to people, and now it has grown and become associated with the Del Mar Fairgrounds, where we have a huge space. We still have room to grow.
And we provide food, clothing, toys, bikes for some families, and any number of other items like poinsettias that we can find to give these families. Just to brighten their holidays and give them a dignified shopping experience.
Seaside has the opportunity to share our love and abundance with the community. They serve over 1,500 families, over 6,000 people. Every person gets a coat. Every child gets a toy. Every family gets 50 pounds of food. Every family gets a blanket. And there are things also for adults and many things for babies. We are collecting both money and items in the family room through December 10th. Please see me in the table in the family room. I'll share more information because it is such an amazing operation. And when they say baskets, it's not a little basket. It's a grocery cart full of abundance. And these families are deserving. And it fills our hearts to do it. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for the love that you are.
Thank you, Candace Young Schultz. And now another thing I want you to remember is that we're celebrating today the end of our pledge drive. And you also remember that the chili cook-off is going on, right? So we're going to all get to tasting and all that, have fun with that one. And now I just want to talk to you about one more person, and that is Carl Cease. He is going to be here next week, remember, for 2 services, and there's a workshop going on. So did you write that down? So here's how we're going to do this. I'm going to show you this clip, and it's not going to be that long, and then we're going to get up and hug, and we're going to start our service. Fair enough? All right.
Sometimes the world wants to take things away from you so that you can see that you're infinite without it. If you saw someone walk by you like this, with like a bottle of water, they're just like, I'm scared to death, I'm gonna drop it. I'm horrified, I'm gonna drop it. Wouldn't you go, here, let me just hold that for you? That's what life's doing. You're like, I'm scared it's gonna fall. Okay, let me just take this. I'm scared this relationship's gonna fall apart. Okay, let me just have that person leave you. I'm scared I'm gonna go broke. Okay, let's put them in 100,000 debt. So that they see that they're still infinite even if they don't have money. Maybe their worry about money is actually in the way of their infinite abilities. I'm scared of all these things. My mortgage is gonna fall. Okay, take their house away. Do you get your infinite yet? How many times do you realize how powerful you are after the lowest thing that you were so scared to let go of? You go, oh, it's now.
Fabulous. See you in the service, guys. Don't forget the hug.
Good morning, Seaside. Please remain standing for the congregational song. We all know this one. Little call and response, okay? I'll start it and you say the next line. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love, yeah, Seaside. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Oh, let me know that love is all around. Let me know, that's right. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. You say, that's right. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Let me live in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me know that love can heal us all. Love can heal us all. Oh, let me know that love can heal us all. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. You say, that's right. Oh, let me live in a holy, holy way. Come on, Bob. That's Bob. Come on, Max. Give it up for Max and Bob and our very own Seaside Band. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Let me serve. Beautiful. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me care for those around the world. Yeah, let me care. Oh, let me care for those around the world. That's right, Seaside. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. You say. Oh, let me serve in a holy, holy way. Oh, let me love in a holy, holy way. Let me love in a holy, holy way. Yeah, Seaside.
Yeah, all right, man. Woo. Sounded good. Hey, thank you, Rebecca.
You're welcome.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, thank
All
you.
right.
How are you?
I'm good. You singing around for the holidays?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
Maybe
I don't
not.
know yet.
Oh no. So
Decided.
nowhere you can tell us to go watch you.
Oh, I have to think about that. I have
Okay.
to think about that.
Next week, I'll check with you. Well,
Next
not
week.
next week because Kyle's going to be
That's
here.
right, Kyle's
So
here.
you got 2 weeks to figure out
All
where
right.
you're going to be.
I'll let you know.
Right here, right now. Anyway, hey, good morning, Seaside. What a joy it is to be with you on this day of celebration. We are just celebrating the Spirit manifesting in our life, the abundance that is manifesting in our experience, in our life. As Gene Houston, abundanza. What a great word. That's just beyond abundance. Abundanza, the richness and the fullness. And we have just had a spectacular 6-week journey through the Arthurian lore that just helped solidify our realization of the abundance that is present. And so today we are celebrating the good and the manifestation and the blessings that continue to show up in our life. And it does so because we have put Spirit first, and we put it on the journey, and we put it at the end. So to just get that going for us in a deep, wonderful way is a wonderful practitioner, and this is Kathleen Lees, who's been praying for Seaside for more than 20 years.
And been blessed by Seaside for more than 20 years. Join me in a moment of stillness. I'm so tremendously grateful for the opportunity, the blessing of having a spiritual home. Seaside is something that we have all created together as a family, to come and acknowledge the presence of Spirit in our lives. And by doing that, we also create a family of spirits coming together and going out and blessing our communities with the way we lead our various lives. And I'm so grateful to have this beautiful space to come to be with people who know and love and understand me, and know that allows me to go out into the rest of my life and know and understand others. And to know, too, that what we create here at Seaside goes out further than just our lives, putting energy into the universe, good, beautiful, loving, thought-provoking energy. So for this, I'm tremendously grateful.
We let the love wash over us. We let
Good morning and again, Seaside. It's me again. So, here's what I want you to know. To the newest person here, we love you. And I want you to feel so welcome that at the end of the service, you go out and check out the welcome table, pick up your doodads and stuff like that and take it home. And just be grateful that we are here to bless you, because I know I've been truly blessed to be here at Seaside and been throughout my whole journey here. My whole world is just so wonderful. So you'll see what I mean when Dr. Christian's done today. But before that, I want to also tell you something about this young man, and he's got his peers here to listen to. That's that girl. So here's what I know. This young man is writing a book, but as I work with the youth in this community, he was one that touched me every time, because if I ever wanted to hear Spirit speak, all I had to do was listen to Coop. I call him Coop. I can do that. And I would say, yes, Coop, you got this. So now I want you to hear, he's writing a book, but I want you to hear some of his pieces, and you're going to be in love with him. You already will, but come on up here, Coop. Come on.
Hi everyone, my name is Cooper Hambrick. I'm in 7th grade and I've been going to Seaside for the last 3 years with my mom. My passions are to write poems about spirituality and nature, play golf and soccer, and I always strive to become a better leader through Boy Scouts and Student Council. Today I am going to share with you the meaning of gratitude and giving in our world. Turkeys, laughter, joy, and happiness, all things that come out of our inner soul when we are generous and kind to others. Thanksgiving is a very special time of the year. We are grateful for everything we have in this universe. We want, we wish, and we dream. Those can all come true if you do 2 things. 1, give to amazing people, especially those in need, a gift to make their hearts sing. If you give blessings to someone else, then may blessings be upon you. Secondly, set your heart, soul, and mind towards that special something. Don't let anyone else impede your dreams or stop you from your spiritual destiny. And always be true to yourself. I will now share a poem I made about Thanksgiving. Turkeys roasting in a flaming oven, fresh bread being cut with ease, joyous conversations and family lovin', little ones saying thank you and please. 'Tis the season brought forth with gratitude, peace, prosperity, and positive attitude. Wondrous kids sitting in their wooden chairs love to squirm, beaming like a happy glowworm. Family and friends embracing each other with care, smiles everywhere. More connecting spirits being spread like mozzarella on pizza with love. Prayers being given, quiet as a morning dove. 'Tis the season of gratefulness and thanks, people being polite and some are even quirky. 'Tis the season full of tremendous tasting turkeys. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. What a blessing out of the mouth of babes, as I always said. The pizza part I like. So with that being said, in his loving words, let's go into prayer with that and holding him to our top light. For I know there is this power that is within me that goes beyond me and covers all beyond me, and it's working for my highest good now. I know that this same power that I live with, hear from, and be with is the same power that's in every single person in the sound of my voice. I know that as we get to hear our finale of our adventure with that fabulous Arthurian lore, I know that you hear what coming home feels like to you. I know to me, it's coming home, taking off my shoes and saying, I'm back, but only this time I am now enriched. And you feel that same enrichment too, because I give great thanks for that. I give great thanks for this fabulous journey that we went through to look at ourselves, to look at our prosperity and be grateful for what we have. So I release this, knowing that as you listen to Dr. Christian, you get what I'm getting in probably better. And so it is.
Good morning, Seaside. That was a wonderful poem. I know he's already gone, but that was wonderful by Cooper sharing that message. It's really encouraging to see our youth, learning gratitude, And at this time, it is my honor, as it is every Sunday, to introduce our guest artist. And today we have our very own and very special Seaside Choir, under the direction of Leslie Green, who happens to be my mother, and accompanied by our very own Seaside Band. So we are just Seaside times 3 for you going on. And I've been asked to accompany them as well. So we're going to just have a good old time. I hope you enjoy. Get on your feet and please sing and dance with us, all right?
Now that is your Seaside Choir under the direction of Leslie Green. How fabulous. And little Rebecca was kicking in there too. Just a little bit, man, rocking out. I just love that. My goodness, it feels like there's a celebration going on today. Woo! Hey! Yes, and we are celebrating. We have been journeying through this wonderful Arthurian lore for the last 6 weeks to help us just grasp hold of the power and the presence of God that wants to show up in those abundant kind of ways in our life, in those ways that are perfect and right and real. And we have explored all sorts of aspects of this wonderful story. And, and last week it came to that point where, you know what, guys? We are going to do our time in which we ask everyone, you know, we're one family and we need to make a pledge for next year so we know we have a solid foundation which we can continue to operate from. And so last week I made that call because that tends to be my responsibility is to say, time to make that call. And if you weren't here last week, that pledge card's in your program with a wonderful pen for you to fill out because I want you to know we did fabulous last week. We, the first week, I don't think we've ever hit it this high. We have 204 individuals, families that said, you know what, count me in. I am part of this family here and I'm going to let it be known what my intention is. So if you haven't done that, it's in your card. And with that, we raised more than I think we've ever got in pledges in the first week, and that is $444,000 in pledges for next year. So that is very exciting. We've got solid footing for next year. What our goal is to have 275 families or individuals say, count me in, I'm part of this family, and letting the intention be known. And you can always change, add, subtract, whatever. But you know what? We roll up our sleeves and we want to base our intention and our dream and our mission, our vision for 2018 on something that is real. And all of us that are willing to play in advance say, count me in. What you have is our prayers. What you have is a commitment of cooperation and co-creation with the presence of God. And what we came to discover from this wonderful journey with Arthur is that it is all based upon spirit for sure. You know, Arthur was called to be king, and he pulled the sword out of the stone that proclaimed him king of the kingdom. And so often we think that the sword he pulled out of the stone was Excalibur. We can thank Disney for that. But the story goes that he went into his first battle and it broke on him. And so Merlin took him to the lake, you know, the mists of Avalon, and the lady of the lake rose from the depths with this sword in her hand that had been passed through the generations and different cultures, and was now handed to Arthur to take the lead. And he took on that mantle, he took on that sword, he took on that responsibility to bring peace to a kingdom that was in war. The warlords, the knights, they had the armor, so you know what? Whoever had the strongest armor, if you couldn't get them, they could take what you had, and that's what was going on. And Arthur brought a new kind of feeling to the area that emerged into a place of peace, which became the Camelot. And so we know Camelot, but the truth is Camelot isn't really anywhere, which makes it available everywhere. And that is the metaphysical governance of a story that is available to us, that we can all enter into a peace, we can all enter into an equality, we can all enter into that we're all at this table equal in the sight of God, able to download the presence, that we have all been made kings and queens of the kingdom of our choosing, and that we have been given dominion over that in our life. And we're going to face some dragons along the way. Don't be fooled. But you know what? If you stay true to your quest, as those Grail Knights did, you begin to move forward, and all of a sudden what happens on this adventure is you are given the opportunity to deepen your conviction, your faith, and belief in that higher power, that there's something greater than what it is you see. And what Percival left us was the realization that, you know what, that in the midst of the present, so often we forget to ask, is this God? We just kind of take it, and then we realize, wow, that was a profound moment. So often in life when something is going on, we forget to ask, as Percival did, that, what is this? Yeah? He didn't want to look foolish in front of the Fisher King. So he didn't ask. And what happened is he missed out on the gifts of the kingdom. So let us not be afraid that we're going to be foolish or immature, and be willing to say, what is this that is before me? What is this? Is this a message? Is this a lesson? Is this God? Is this the presence? Let us be conscious enough to realize that I need to ask what is for and who does it serve? That's the other question. What is this and who does it serve? Does it serve me? Does it serve my ego? Or does it serve the kingdom? The presence of God, humanity, my fellow brothers and sisters. No matter what's going on, we could say, hey, what's going on here? And who does it serve? And all of a sudden, as we begin to be conscious, we realize that, Spirit is there, and that we can return back to that place of comfort, as Rosedale was saying. She likes a place where she can just kick off her shoes and come home and be comfortable. That's what Camelot is. That's where we have to go when we are able to connect with that presence, no matter where we are in our life, no matter what war or battle or dragon or difficulty that we are facing. We can always return to that place, return home. I've taught so many classes, and people are always seeking, I want to go home. I want to go home to my true self, my spiritual self, not the one that is struggling, not the one that is in fear, not the one that is always doing battle. I just want to be comfortable in my own skin, in my own life, where I am. I'm tired of the battles. When am I going to get there? See, that's like a question so when's this going to happen? I get it. I get that peace kind of thing. That's nice, Camelot. Yeah, we started there. How do I get back home? And that's a question we started when we were kids. At least I did when we were going on vacation. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? You take Trevor to Disneyland. When are we going to get there? And this kind of urgency continues to go with us through our life as we continue to do this thing called life. Is this going to be over yet? Am I going to finally get this? A story I'm sure I've shared with you about the apprentice working with the master teacher, and he came up to him and said, Master, how long is it going to take to reach enlightenment? And the master teacher said it will take 10 years. And the kid said, no, not 10 years. When am I going to get there? What if I work harder? What if I work twice as hard? I meditate twice as hard. I get up early, do my reading and my meditation, then I do it again at night. If I put in twice as much time, how long is it going to take me? To which the master teacher said, for you, 20 years. Yeah. You just can't rush this thing called life. You cannot rush the process. Transformation is inevitable. You are on this path, and every step is that path to be celebrated. So often we celebrate birth, we celebrate death. There's a lot in between to celebrate. And how do you know when you're done, you're not here anymore? You're gone. That's when you're done. And you can have a lot of celebration between here and there. You can experience yourself home. You can experience yourself in that place of the kingdom. Whenever you choose to realize, that's it, but I've got to recognize that I got to stop beating myself up. I'm not there yet. I'm not here. I'm pushing. The more we push, the further away it seems, though all the events seem to be crashing against each other. The calendar days are zipping by, but it seems like we're not getting any closer to its manifestation. And then all of a sudden, the self-defeating kind of thoughts begin to attack our inner side, thinking, well, it's never going to happen. All those things I never won are lining up like dancing girls, like just teasing. It's like all of a sudden the mind begins to attack itself, and then it starts putting comparisons out there, like that guy who has a big fat budget to work with, probably does better with his time management skills than I do, and no doubt has just washboard abs and more hair than I do, and all of a sudden you begin to start focusing in, and focus is the key here. You want to get home, you got to begin to focus and recognize that it's not an urgency and it's not a push. It is an adventure. It is a journey, and the joy is enjoying it. Wow, what a concept! You ever had a book, a good novel, a page burner? It's like you're getting to the end. It's like, I don't want it to end. That's just the opposite of what I'm talking about. When are we going to get there? But that's how you get things to move, is you so love the journey, the adventure. You have been given the sword that has risen from the divine mother herself, that has given you the protection and said, you will never be harmed when you take this into battle. You will never be killed. You have the divine protection of the divine mother that surrounds you as you journey out into this life. But you got to give up that race and realize that, I'm going to enjoy it so much that I don't want it to end. This velocity is like it's like a tiger, in a cage, walking across our brain, just back and forth, pacing and trampling all the seedlings that are rising as you begin to enter into the journey, the adventure, and recognize that I've got the faith that I'm going to be okay and I'm going to love every step of the way. It begins to send away the urgency and allows you to live with a great sense that I am free. But so often what we're looking for is the freedom, from out there, forgetting that a lot of the prison is in here. We're imprisoned by our mind and our thinking and our body. And who you are is not your body and it is not your mind, but yet we're trying to get it right here when the truth is you are this spirit. Your soul. You think about soul. Realize really how much you don't know about soul. But I also want you to think or realize that you probably know more than the rest of the world. And the reason being is, when we think about God as something outside, forgetting that God is the very soul of our being. That for us to come to know Spirit, we've got to know that Spirit is within, that Spirit, that soul that is Spirit is within will lead us to the freedom that we're looking for. But we're looking outside, which is why we go on an adventure. And adventures are good. They stretch you. They make you grow. They challenge you. They get you to slow down. They get you to ask those grails, what is this, God? What is this? You're omnipresent. Show me something here. And who is this going to serve? Is it going to serve my ego, or is it going to allow me to be a greater expression for humanity? And as we begin to recognize what is right here, we're blessed. We're blessed. Something to celebrate. You're already home. You come home doesn't mean you came home and your life is done or the battle's over. We celebrated all the veterans last week. Doesn't mean we're done fighting. It's good to celebrate what you have done. Recharge. You know the story that Russell Conwell brought forth? And he was the founder and first president of Temple University in Philadelphia. Fabulous story, Acres of Diamonds. It's just one of the legendary stories of the New Thought movement, of the Abadanza movement, if you would, the prosperity. It's about Russell. He was born in 1840, so he was young. It was the 1800s when he went over to the Middle East, and he got this Arab guide out of Baghdad. He hired to take him down the Euphrates and the Tigris, and they were on camel, and they'd be leading him. And one night, the guide shared a story about the area in which they lived in. And he said there was a man a time back who owned a lot of the orchards and the gardens that were there. And they were beautiful, and he had other assets, and he would, had interest on them. And he was real well. And every night, the guy would go to bed happy and satisfied with what he had and with what he did. And one day, they said a Buddhist monk, I don't know how a Buddhist monk ended up there in that era, but I guess they did, and came and was talking to Ali Hafed, was his name, and was telling Ali about diamonds. And Ali had never heard about diamonds. This is whenever that era was. And he was excited, and the monk said it was like the touch of God. It was a dewdrop that began to reflect the touch of God. And if you had a little one, you would be abundant. And if it was a little bit bigger, you would be the ruler of your whole area. And if you had a big one, all your kids would be the ruling class. And Ali got very excited about this. And then he went to bed that night and he couldn't sleep, because now he didn't feel like he had enough. He wanted more. And so he decided when he woke up that morning, he was going to sell it all and go find a field of diamonds. Because as Monk said, it's white sand and you'll just see them and you'll know when you find it. And so he sold his farm, his land, his gardens, his orchards, his assets. He took all of his money and started traveling through the Middle East. Then he went into Africa. And then he went through Europe and went through all of his money. Ended up in Spain along the coast. He was poor. He was disheveled. He was starving. He was weak. He had gone through everything, and a giant wave came, and he just threw himself, and that was the end of Ali. Very sad story. But what was interesting is the successor of the estate was taking his camel down to the river to drink some water. And he saw this black rock that had this little sparkle in it. He thought it was exciting. He took it and he sent it on the mantle of his fireplace. And that monk, now aged, came walking through and he came to visit the new owner of that estate. And he saw that black rock sitting on the mountain and said, "There's a diamond. That's a diamond in there." He said, "No, it's not a diamond. It's just a big old black rock with a sparkle." He said, "No, I know what diamonds are. I'm telling you, that's a diamond. Where'd you get that?" And he took him down to the water, and they found another one. And they took him out in the fields, and they found another one. And they took him out into other fields. And they took him out in the gardens, and they found these stones in the white sand all over this guy's estate. And they became the Glokenda diamond mines, the richest ones in all of the world, they say, the ones that put the crown jewels in the Russian crowns and the ones of England. And here was this guy who was standing on fields of diamonds, went looking elsewhere, and obviously the moral of the story is there he was the whole time on the richness, on the fullness, on the diamonds, and he went looking outside thinking he could someday return home triumphant. But the truth was he was already home, already had the riches, already had everything he was looking for, but thought it was out there. That is right. So I share that story, besides it being a classic, is one that reminds us that we don't need to look out there, but what we need to do is look within inside of ourselves, within inside of our being. Because I'll tell you, I listened to story after story of students in the class saying, "I just want to go home to my true self," forgetting that they have it. But I say, so where are you if you're not home? And it's in confusion, disarray, drifting, trapped by the tried and true, and they forget. And this is not a new story. You can find it in the Bhagavad Gita, where Krishna is telling the great warrior Arjuna, who's now lying flat and stuck, they said, on the floor of the chariot, because he is filled with doubt. And the doubt isn't because he is afraid. The doubt is because he's ambivalent. He doesn't know. You want to return home, what you got to do is know, you know what, I'm heading home for a break. I'm going to go home, celebrate my path so far. Or I've got to make this decision. Arjuna had to make a real tough decision about battle. And Krishna was saying, doubt will destroy your faith and can end up destroying you. So when your home is within, and you know how to go to that place of peace, and you can go to that place and connect, all of a sudden, there is a shift that can take place. But people go looking outside. Mar, have you got this from St. Augustine? It's just a classic. Is men go abroad to wonder at the heights of mountains, at the huge waves of the sea, at the long course of the rivers, at the vast compass of the ocean, and at the circular motion of the stars, and they pass themselves by without wonder. Are you doing that? Passing yourself by without wonder? That's why when we go on this adventure and we face our dragons and the challenges, we begin to be amazed at that spirit that is within us. And so often we have to go out so we can go in. But it's within. But what happens a lot of times is we think we need the reinforcement from out there. I got a letter from a magazine, probably advertisement. I try to tell myself it wasn't, but it said, I thought they liked me. They said, we noticed your name on several lists that indicate that you are a very interesting, progressive person of influence. And we could tell that you would like good literature, knowing about world of affairs and science. And so we thought you would be interested in what it is we want to share. And it's like, you bet I do. You know me perfectly here, But we can be played so easily when we're not at home and we're not comfortable with who we are. We've got to learn to get to that mountaintop, that I talk about. Because up on that mountaintop, you have a view to the past, to the present, to the future. You can see how things are unfolding. You can see how things are playing together. It is from this elevated perspective that you can begin to trust in that presence of God that wants to move through you in your life. You're going to be able to go out on that adventure and recognize that you're leaving a Camelot. You're leaving that place, that your center, your deep place of connectedness, that place where it says, lean not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him, is what Isaiah told us. It's just that's the power. lean not on your own understanding. There's something inside of you, and when you go home, you recharge, and when you go within, you're able to feel it. Isaiah also said that it is in the peace and the quiet you'll come to know. You'll come to know. And so with all you're getting, get God. All your understanding, get Spirit. That's what we want to do through our adventure. No matter what comes up, whether it's the pain, the challenge, the stretch, the sadness, the joy, where's God here? That's the Grail question. What's more here? Where's God here? And how does this serve me, humanity, and the world in which I live? I've been given the sword that is going to protect me in this life. I have been given the power that is equal to anybody sitting at that round table. And the Holy Grail is anything that has you searching for the divine, for the divinity. It holds a greater understanding, the awareness of God. And as I go for that, I begin to get it. And Arthur, he had a stretch. I mean, the story is that, Arthur got the sword from the Lady of the Lake and said, you're the leader. You pulled the sword from the stone. And in that time, the place was a mess. I mean, Pendragon, his dad, the previous king, was trying to unite, and it didn't work. And without the leadership, the place just frayed. And the guys with the armor controlled and took what they wanted. And they were being attacked by the Gaelics. They were being attacked by the Saxon. And Arthur took the sword, and all that doubted him saw him raise, and they say there was a light that came from that. And he led the people into battle. And they beat those individuals. And Arthur got to the end of his life, and it's not going so good. And he's reflecting upon this time in which it did work. When you're able to go home, you're able to reflect maybe upon some of those more positive times. He then reflected upon uniting all the knights and the kings so they were not taking advantage. All of a sudden, he created a kingdom. He married Guinevere, and his dad gave them the round table that made everybody equal within the kingdom. There was peace, there was safety, there was abundance. There was an equality of the sharing of the resources, and things were going well. And then as we began to talk about is the knight said, okay, so what's next, man? I'm made for battle. Might is right. Give it. So we realized what was missing here was God, was the spiritual aspect. So they sent them off on the search for the Holy Grail, and the people came, the ones that found it never came back. And the ones that came back, they were still rough. And so the place began to splinter. And all of a sudden, there's an uprising within the town and within the hillsides. And the Saxons had been beaten back and spent 10 years building their armies. And there was Arthur's kid Mordred that united the people. The have-nots were now upset with the king and those that had. You kind of repeated the story. Those that have not are not happy with those that have created the wealth. And there is an uprising, and there's a uniting, and the place is going to pieces. And Guinevere and Lancelot, they got involved with each other. And so Arthur had tried to move the next level of peace to law. And this law said, you know what? You need to execute Lancelot and your wife. He couldn't do it. And Ernest Holmes talks about the difference between the letter of the law that says you got to do this and the spirit of the law. And if it's about love, caring, understanding. And so Mordred used the upset of the people for Arthur and united against him. Arthur's just sitting in his castle, miserable. Place has fallen apart. His knights are turning against him, and things are not going good. And one of his knights gets to him. He gets him to remember who he was. Had Arthur come on home, Arthur. You were given Excalibur, which represents the power and the strength. And you were given Excalibur. Not only does it represent power, but it represents responsibility with that power which had not been present. And in the realization came the light that the sword represents the descent of spirit, as Ernest Holmes talks about, into the realm of form, in which Arthur was representing spirit in, that he was given the power. And it was in that spiritual realization, the descent of spirit upon Arthur in this physical realm, that he decided. He wasn't going to decide, he was moved by spirit. That there was one more battle that he had to fight. That he had to find something within his soul. He had to go home and remember the truth of that spirit where there was peace and there was the abilities, and said, you know what, I've got to go out one more battle. And that he fought. And the Saxons and the people came up and they rose against Arthur in the vision of right, of peace, of order, of and it didn't pan out well for the other side. But nor did it pan out for Arthur. For Arthur had to give it all, including his life. And in the end, he was the last one standing, and he took his sword, and he had it returned and thrown back to the lady of the lake from which it came. Even the sword got to return home. Eventually, Arthur, from all of his battles and his fighting, got to return home. I share this because we will face those times when we don't know if there's anything more left inside of us. But this story tells us there is. It is abundant good of God that is seeking to express. You need to find that something, even if you're downtrodden and the world has turned against you, literally. You still have an equal seat at that table that says you are the place for the divine download. Go face the battle you are being called to. And maybe you'll get to return home afterwards. Whether to the kingdom of earth or the kingdom of God. And what battles are you looking at? There's gifts there. I know Callie and I this week, it was an emotional one for us. As you know, as I've shared with you, the story of our son Trevor is on the autistic spectrum. And the beginning of January, he turns 18. And 18, one becomes a legal adult, which means you're able to make all your decisions, or you're also available to be taken advantage of by the ways of this world. And so he doesn't seem to have the capacity at this point in his life to be able to do that. And so one needs to go to the courts to be able to be given the conservatorship. And so, we spent, this year working with the lawyers and people doing their evaluations and got it all lined up for the courtroom on Thursday. And we went in to the courtroom and went smooth, just as it was planned, and we were awarded the conservatorship for our son. And we walked out of there and we looked at each other, and Callie said, nothing's different between today and tomorrow. And yet both of us just felt the tears welling up in the emotions, and yet something profoundly different changed in our world in that moment. 18-year-old, have the vision of my son, going off to college. Obviously starring on the football team, but but at least finding his passion, his joy, and having the world support him, fall in love with his soulmate and live. And yet we've just been given the powers to make his decisions of the relationships and finances and where he gets to live, and the doctors, they call them the 7 powers. And it's not at all what we had in mind. But there's something inside that knows we agreed to this in this world. And we can still hold the high vision of that perfect life for Trevor, who the whole thing with the Grail is the last step of the Grail is you got to give it all up for God. And what I realized with Trevor is he gave it all up for God when he came here. He's not here worrying about the mind and the body. Who he is expressing. It's like those monks that would go around with their bowls collecting alms, very appreciative for every meal or something that was given to him. He arrived in this world with total faith and trust that life will provide for him, and he's doing just fine cruising through this world. He's come home to heaven. Bless his heart. He's loving it. And so we need to take a look and say, where is God here? What's this for? Am I able to give it all up in the final step with the Grail? I'm willing to give everything up that I thought was my place for God. And as we talked about the importance of this journey, no matter what's going on and our plans, to always leave that little extra space in the heart for that unimaginable good to show up in our life. Because I've come to recognize God's grace is far greater than my karma, my thoughts, and my expectations. That my idea of good is only my idea of good. And there is so much more. And so what we need to do is be willing to go on our adventure to discover beyond the realm of thinking what that might be. And actually give it all up for God so we can experience it. And that's when we will find ourselves home. Relaxed, in joy, in love, in peace. God bless us all on our journey. Hey, let's let's keep it going as we bring back to this stage the Seaside Choir under the direction of Leslie Green. They have been working on this piece since September when they first gathered. Accompanying them on the piano with the music book under her arms, walking around the Busendorfer, is Mary Gorman. And so relax, enjoy this wonderful fall number. Absolutely.
So yes, you're right. The choir, we've been working on this song for a while, and because this is the autumn season, and autumn, fall, I know here in California we don't quite get that full sense of it here, but we're from, Rebecca was born in New York City, and I'm from upstate New York. So for those of you who have been in the Northwest or Northeast, you know how beautiful change at this time of year, changing of the leaves are. They're absolutely fabulous. So we are doing a tune called Autumn Leaves. We've kind of changed the words a little bit, though. Instead of it being about, and I miss you most of all, my darling, instead of it being a love song that's so sad, we're actually talking about the magnificence and God's magnificence, and that we see that in the autumn leaves going home.
That is your Seaside Choir. Fabulous. Woo, beautiful. Nice job, Director Leslie Green. Yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. All right. Well, hey, this is the time of our service where we have the opportunity to share our gift. We have the opportunity to share our offering and our love. And also, I want to give anyone who wasn't here last week that opportunity to let us know if you're part of the clan, part of the family, what your intention of support is for 2018. It is extremely beneficial in our ability to put together a plan that supports the vision and mission of this community. And, you know, it can always change one way or the other, but what's important is that you're willing to make a commitment with God and you get those prayers and thinking lined up, and just amazing things begin to happen in your life. So it's in your program with a pen. Fill that out, drop that in the basket, and I know we will get those 50 more individuals that will put us beyond where we were last year, which is a great sign. We had 42 people join Seaside a couple of weeks ago. Wonderful sign that the place is alive and growing. Earlier in the year, more than 75 individuals said, you know what, I'm part of this family. So I know it will reflect in this awareness. Thank you. And that's for Seaside with what's going on. So I want to invite our ushers and greeters to come forward at this time as we take this gift from our heart and realize that it truly is something that is coming from our heart to think about, to feel, and to sense what Spirit wants to move through you in this time in your giving. And just know you can't outgive God. What happens is you're the activity that Spirit is in your life. You're dealing with that which is infinite. So Glenn, you're doing a show here in a couple weeks, right? The breakout group? You and Tess and Mick, who just joined Seaside, they're putting it on. Colleen's on it. So that's here. When is it?
Well, it's the first Sunday in December.
It's the first Sunday in December. Okay, you want to know more about it? Probably. Okay, that's full moon too, huh? Okay, that's good. So anyway, I don't know. Did I thank Jenny yet for this? Jenny and Dennis, this is magnificent. Oh my goodness, I'm going to miss this. Knights and Grails and Excaliburs and look at this banner. I mean, where can we hang a banner like that? So it lasts. And also it's Jenny's birthday this week, so big shout out for Jenny. Speaking of birthdays, Robin Mitchell, it's your birthday today and you chose to share it with us. Happy birthday to you. That is fabulous. And we had Rebecca's earlier in the it's just I just stand here with the joy and the love and can just feel the vibration, the sense of family, the sense of growth, the sense of a thriving spiritual community that works for everyone. That truly this is a moment that we support God's vision that is showing up in ways that transform, that heal, that uprise, and remind us that abundance is the natural state, that we live and move and have our being in an infinite reservoir, totally inexhaustible, and that we get to become that conduit, that channel, that avenue, that portal, that window, that transparency for it to flow into expression. There are so many thresholds for that infinite to take form into our life. We're the ones who just have to open up, and in this moment we take that which has blessed our life and we send the blessing and the joy forward into the world, finding ourselves so totally at home and at peace because we are able to contribute at the level in which our soul desires, which is God expressing as our very life. So with joy we send this forth, and with joy we continue to be the recipient, which is the confirmation of this whole program, is understanding the wonderful, reciprocal, inevitable outcome of the infinite flow of life. So with joy we give, with joy we live, knowing all is well in our world. And so it is, in an abundant kind of way. Abundanza is ours, and so it is. Amen. And together, yes, abundanza. Let's say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully, I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. Seaside Band. Woo! And the dancing triplets. Or should we say quartet? The Edwins kind of got the moves down too. Man, I was the only one not invited to that party. I was like, but I am right here just noticing the divine party of God, recognizing we are home where we can laugh and we can enjoy and that we can have a good time and we can be who we are. We're able to kick off our shoes and just relax and know that Seaside is a home where all are welcome. It is a thriving spiritual community that works for all individuals. And I know right now that we find ourselves a place here that just feels so good and nourishing, and that right now in this moment there is a richness and a blessing that we are reminded of our connectedness with the infinite expression of God. And so we give from this deep knowingness that is truly inexhaustible, and we continue to stretch and to give and to share and to commit and pledge and know that right now I am in it for God. And so in this moment I give this with love and find that love pours forth all the blessings in those perfect ways in my life. I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for the ability to give, knowing that Seaside takes care of this with deep stewardship and responsibility and puts it forth back into action, bringing the joy in which I gave with to delivering the joy to those that receive. So with love in our hearts, we accept this, we give this, and we circulate this, and just allow ourselves to shine with the glory of God. And so it is. Amen. All right. This is Edwin Robinson, your board president. So did you guys just decide we're going to fix our bathrooms?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we are.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it within the next month or so.
The next month or so. So we're on it. And that wonderful gift is coming from Robin Holt and Rick Merica. They're going down to Australia to start a new work, and they're throwing themselves a party, if you would. But everyone's invited on the 3rd, December 3rd. Maybe I'll have Robin share a little bit here on about the adventure, and there's a big party afterwards. So plan to be part of that. So and we won't maybe have the bathrooms done by then. Guys, there's so many of you. This is fabulous. What'd you think of Coop? Cooper delivers. He's the man, huh? All right. You know, anybody want to share anything? Whew, let's.
So today we got journals and we wrote about what we're thankful for.
Wow. What are you thankful for?
I'm thankful for my parents mostly and all the food on Thanksgiving.
Nice. Abigail.
Today in the kids area we learned about Thanksgiving and I read a book too.
Nice. Anybody else want to share? Oh, no. Yeah, I see someone does right here. You. Yes.
I'm thankful for Thanksgiving and everybody that celebrates it and loves it.
Oh,
That's what I'm so thankful for.
nice.
I'm thankful for my family.
All right. Whew. I want you to know how grateful I am for you guys. We just love supporting you. Let's say together, we see you, we love you, we support you in your magnificence. So, we're doing a lot of good work here at Seaside in this holiday season. You're aware that we're providing a week or two's worth of support for the transitional housing program. So that information is in the back if you want to help out with providing a meal. We used to house them here at Seaside, but we don't have the physical space anymore. We have a school, but we go to the Lutheran church and we're there at night, make sure everything is in order or feed them breakfast. Also, what we're doing is we are working with the Community Resource Center, so all the individuals that are part of this transitional housing program came through them. But also this year, we're going big with, it's called the Holiday Basket Program. You heard Candace share about it, and you saw a picture. But what that is those individuals in the North County who would not be experiencing the holidays get a grocery store basket and get to go through the fairgrounds and take the food and toys and things for parents. And Bill, remember the year you brought in like 2,000 blankets? 5,000 blankets over a couple of years to make sure everybody in North County had a blanket, thanks to Bill's vision and Seaside's ability to deliver that. And so, that was a good one. So we have baskets in the back. I brought in a little bike today so you can see Candace in the back if you're interested in doing that. I know the Seaside Sisters found a time in which they were going to go actually work over there and get it ready for the program. Also, what we have going on is today after service at 4 o'clock, we have a wonderful interfaith program that Seaside is part of the interfaith, and we're doing a forum, and it's international kids talking about the refugee situation. It's called Hands of Peace, and that's available. That information's in your Sunday Sunday program, as well as Wednesday night, the Interfaith Group, which I happen to be president of these days, is putting together the Interfaith Thanksgiving service on Wednesday night. Last year we hosted it here at Seaside. This year, we're closing up our Power Up service, so come back the following week, and we're pointing everybody to the Methodist Church right off Encinitas Boulevard behind the In-N-Out Burger, 7 o'clock, Pie Fest afterwards. The mayor is going to be there. All sorts of our interfaith and ministerial colleagues will be there doing that. So there's a lot going on in your program, and I could be talking about it. The biggest news, though, yes, that's big news, is Thanksgiving Day is here. Christina Tillotson is hosting a wonderful message followed by a wonderful potluck. But if you don't have anything to bring in your pots, just come for the luck, and it's all available for you. There's always more than 100 people that are here, and they bring their families, they bring their friends, and it's a place for those that don't have a place to go. It's the only spot in the North County in San Diego that actually offers a meal on the day of Thanksgiving. So you want to know more about it, talk to Christina. We're having our own meal, and as soon as I'm done yakking up here. But first I want to share with you the winners of your chili cook-off. Biggest winner is Ray Holder and the men's group along with Carolyn Holder. Thank you guys for organizing this for whatever year. Actually, I figured out the first chili we did here at Seaside was in 1991. It was our tree trim service. And I brought the only pot of chili, and that's the year I won. So, hey, I also found out, we don't have anybody put out our tree and all our holiday decorations. So if anybody wants to put out our holiday tree and put on the ornaments and the decorations, see me, talk to the office, talk to Joanne, because if we don't get it, somebody do that, we don't have one. So as of now, we don't have that individual. But what I want to share, drum roll please, the winners of our chili cook-off. For the original, which means it's without categories, is third place out of 3 is me. No, I'm third. And it's a great vegetarian. I did millet instead of meat. But second place, Ann Margroff. My goodness, welcome home. We've been missing you. You bring food, you feed us. Dan, and the winner is the original category. First place goes to Dan McCoy. Nice job, Dan. Woo! You member of Seaside. Category, a vegetarian. They thought I'd have a better chance if I got kicked out of that one. Third place, Tara Jade. Woo! Second place, last year's winner. That is Eileen and Steve. Woo! And the winner of the vegetarian is Marty Klein. Hey, that's her great first service. And for the final category, your 3 candidates. Third place goes to Fritz Runbeck. Fritz, nice job. Second place for spiciest. He says he cooks it until he likes it himself. That's Dennis Mills. Final first place winner for the spiciest of all is Rebecca Zakara. Woo! So with that said, I'm going to pray. I invite you to join me in this wonderful spot in the heart and soul and can feel that presence, that life force, that divine download of the infinite that is just a sense of being home, a sense of that divine embrace, that goddess energy of nurturing and support that says you have it all to walk this world. You are safe. And we begin to discover with the conviction of our connectedness with that infinite. We come to recognize and realize the wonderful vibratory frequency of being, His spirit, His self. The soul of me, the soul of you is the presence of God that is expressing. And with courageousness, we delve into the realization, the recognition of what that means. The soul is God, is us. And as I come to feel that sense that I know that I am spirit. Now, not all, but all that I am is, because it is infinite. There cannot be anything else. I cannot be made up of God and something else. I am spirit. And so I just move in that space. What is it that I need to know here? How can I know spirit in a greater way? Where is spirit expressing and revealing? And I know right now if there's any issue in my life that is of contention, of conflict, of doubt, of fear, begins to dissolve into the nothingness from which it came. And what emerges is the realization of the truth of being, which is spirit, and that everything that goes on in my life is part of the adventure in which I get to bring forth a greater aspect of the divine, individualizing its touches me. And so healing happens in those areas of concern. Transformation unfolds. I am changed in this moment. I may not know how it plays out in life, but I know that in this moment is God. It is wonderful. It is right. And I trust that. And I step forth, just surrendering it all to the Grail, to the Spirit, and saying, I am that which is Spirit expressing in this moment in time and space. And with that comes the support. With that comes the richness, the sense of living with a fulfillment and a success and a creativity and a self-expression and an aliveness. For I'm in an equal place in which the divine downloads, and I become the wonderful expression of that for the world to see. And with that comes a creativity. With that comes intimacy. With that comes relationships that are wonderful and magical and juicy and right. With that comes an ability to move forward with the abundance, beyond abundance of God leading the way and supporting the way, for all that is needed has already been given, and I live with that deep knowingness that all is well. So I stand here at the culmination and the celebration of this pledge program with a heart filled with appreciation for every member of our family, every friend that walks through, every guest that enters our place and sits in our chairs. How grateful I am that we have all contributed to create with this Camelot, with this center, with this thriving spiritual nexus is. For we are all players for the divine, on the divine team. And so I know every prayer request that has been brought forth to our prayer request chest is answered, fulfilled. We surround our beloved sister and practitioner, Robin Mitchell, with our heart and our soul as her sister made her transition this week and moves on with the currents of eternality, able to be free to express who she is. And that Robin's life is richer for the time shared, the love expressed, lessons learned. Comes the deep realization that spirit is eternal. The love that brought family together is the love that transcends time and space. It's the love that continues to attract. So grateful to know that Spirit has brought us together for a time such as this to do the profound work, to do the mission of Seaside, to make a profound difference in people's lives, to teach them that healing can transform those areas of concern, that we can live in this world with a sense of ease and joy and grace, leaving space within our heart for the unimaginable good to show up, for the good we imagine is good, but know that God has something greater. And we become that place where it expresses. And this I am grateful for. I'm thankful to trust God and to give it all up with an unshakable faith and conviction into that higher power, that greater intelligence that moves in my life. I let go. I let God. And so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was end.
But now I can say, if you are discouraged and you are struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let it go, let it go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. And no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. That I
Then no more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Come on, Seaside, sing it from your heart. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for
Hey, Coop, one more time. Thank you very much for your wonderful poems and readings and writing your book, New York Times bestseller for sure. Also want to remind you, next week, Kyle Cease, 9 and 11 o'clock service. You know, he puts together these videos, and it's literally watched by millions of people every week. So plan to be here. You get him in the morning if you want. There's a workshop right about this time next week with him. But in the meantime, let's say I celebrate my return home transformed together. I celebrate my return home transformed. Touch your heart and say it again. I celebrate my return home transformed. One more time. I celebrate my return home transformed. And our song of grace.
I'm living in love. I'm living in peace. I'm living my life for what I believe. Through joy and through fear, in this world I walk. God's grace shines on me, and it shines on us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We're living in love. We're living in peace. United we stand as one family. We honor all truth as together we walk. God's grace moves through me, and it moves through us all. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace. We are living in grace.
God bless you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Celebration Sunday, everybody.